Hello, class. Today we looked at ways to divide, and there are 5 common ways to divide. If you have already done this in class, then you really don't need to worry about this video or assignment. You can just keep moving on. But if you did not do this in class, or you're one of my distance learners, then you will be interested in this video. So you should have the ways to divide sheet in front of you, or print it off preferably, but you could also do it in digitally just using the Scribble tool in the Google Drawings app. There's also a text box for the first strategy, which is to explain in words. So let's go through the strategies really quickly in this video, and then you can pick your own division problems to fill out in your own sheet. You will want to print this off because we are putting these into our interactive notebooks, our math notebooks, and it'll be on one of the first few pages. So after you got that math review sheet pasted in, you're going to want to paste this in either on page 2 or page 3, whichever page you have next that's available. So going through this sheet real quickly, so explain in words. So let's say, for example, we are doing 12 divided by what? 4. Yeah, no, let's go with 12 divided by 4. Blah. For some reason, it was stuck in my head how I wanted to do this. So we're going with 12. Hopefully you'll be able to see this pretty well on here. We're going to actually go 12 divided by 3. So hopefully you can get this. It's not looking quite right, but you should have 12 divided by 3. And we're going to go ahead and write that in words. So when we write this in words, we think of the total group, which is 12 in this case, and then we think of ways that we're splitting it up. So in this case, we will write out 12 shared with 3 groups. So you'll want to, if you're going to do 12 divided by 4, I encourage you though to use a different fact family. So say 20 divided by 5 or something like that. Come up with another one so that you can be thinking this through instead of just copying down what I already have written down. But so for 12 divided by 3, which equals 4, I wrote down 12 shared with 3 groups. Now, unfortunately, because of the way things work with cameras, it's flipped over. But that's what that says there, 12 shared with 3 groups. So for example, if you did 20 divided by 5, it would be 20 shared with 5 groups. And so you would think about that. Think of that story in your head and think, what would be the equal amount given to every group if there were 5 groups and I had 20 of, let's say, Snicker bars or something like that? How would I be able to split that up evenly between those 5 groups? So that would be one strategy to think of when you are doing division. Another strategy is count equal groups. So let me show you what this would look like, 12 divided by 3. Sorry, I was interrupted while I was teaching. Hopefully that doesn't happen again, but we'll see. So as I was saying, 12 divided by 3 equals 4. We could split that up into equal groups using a picture. So I write out 3 groups. So I'm going to start with circles. So I get my 3 groups, or my 3 circles, and now I got to count to 12. So, and I want to make sure that I'm splitting them equally between each circle. So for example, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I've reached my max, which is 12. Oh, it looks like you didn't see that on the camera. But I went mark, 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 and then went back and kept going as I counted to 12. And so now I'm at 12, and you can see I made 4 marks in each circle. So remember, in the word one, it was 12 shared between 3 groups. So that was the way of explaining it in words. And so in the pictures, you can see the same thing. You have the 3 groups, there's 12 total marks, and they're shared equally. So that means my answer's got to be 4 in this example. So you'll want to write down something like this in the count equal groups section. You'll want to put that down there. So on the next one, repeated subtraction. This is another strategy you can use when it comes to division. So in multiplication, we have a strategy called repeated addition, and division is the opposite of what multiplication is. They have a relationship between the two. So with multiplication, you are doing repeated addition as a strategy. In division, it's the opposite. It's actually repeated subtraction as the strategy to solve basic division problems. So what you do is you start with 12. In my example, 12 divided by 3 equals 4. So you'll start with 12, just like that. And then I want to subtract 3 from it. So I'm going to do minus 3, and 12 minus 3 equals 9. Now, that's the first time. So I've subtracted 3 one time. Now I'm going to subtract 3 again. 9 minus 3 is 6. So now I've subtracted 2 times. I'm going to subtract again. 6 minus 3 equals 3. Now I'm not quite to 0 yet, but I'm almost there. So I've done it 3 times now. Now I'm going to do 3 minus 3. 3 minus 3 equals 0. So now I've reached 0. So that means that I should know my answer. So 12 divided by 3 equals 4 because I've subtracted 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So that's how I know my answer is 4. And that would be the repeated subtraction strategy. So you'll want to use whatever division problem you came up with and show that in your little section there. Another strategy is actually a fact family strategy. So if you know your fact families really well, and this is where multiplication can come in to help you, this actually can help you figure out the answer to division problems. So in fact families, what we know is, so we have 12 and we have 3, and we pretend we don't know that the answer is 4. And so we look at it and we go, what times 3 equals 12? So let's start with 3 times, I usually like to do a box or a blank line or something like that as like our little mystery number. We do it like this. So 3 times something equals 12. Now we can use some of our multiplication strategies now to try to figure out the answer. So we could do skip counting, for example. We could go 3, 6, 9, 12. Oh, that's 4 times. So that must be 4. So if I know 3 times 4 equals 12, and then in a fact family, you know that the reverse is true. 4 times 3 equals 12. So if you can recall back to your addition subtraction fact families, you should be able to catch this with multiplication as well. So you can switch these out and you still get the same answer. So 3 times 4 or 4 times 3 will equal 12. Now that's just part of this is only half of the fact family. The other half is to come. So if this is the case, if this is true, then I also know that 12 divided by 4 equals 3, and 12 divided by 3 equals 4. Now my original problem is 12 divided by 3, and I'm trying to figure out what the answer is to that. But as you can see here, 12 divided by 4 equals 3. So that means the reverse is true. 12 divided by 3 equals 4, because that's how a fact family works. So a fact family is 3 numbers that you can switch out into certain positions and you still get the true, you still get like similar answers. So that's the beauty of a fact family. These 3 numbers have a special relationship that they don't necessarily have with other numbers. So you can use fact families to help you figure it out. So if you know your multiplication really well, that can actually help you with your division problems. Or reverse, if you're really good at division, it can actually help you with your multiplication problems. So that's another strategy you could use when you run into division. The last strategy we're going to talk about is called an array. So an array, this is very similar to how multiplication tables look. So when you look at a multiplication table, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going across like that. And then you have your answers going. So an array looks similar to that and will get you your answer. So I did 12 divided by 3. So I need to come up with 3 first. So I'm going to do this. So I got my 3 dots. This is actually also similar to the count equal groups section. So it has a lot of similarities here. So I start with 3. These are like the starts of my 3 groups. Now I want to go equal, and I have 12. 12, let's say, Snickers again. So I got my 3 groups, and my 3 groups are going to go in columns. And I have to get to 12. So far I have 3. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to go 4, 5, and 6. So as you can see, I just added another row. Then 7, 8, and 9. Added another row underneath that one. And then lastly, 10, 11, and 12 is my last row there. So as you can see, I had 3 across and 4 down for a total, let me write this down real quick, total of 12. So 3 across, 4 down, and that when you multiply that all, you get 12. So going back to multiplication, right? Division and multiplication have that relationship with one another. So as you can see, you have your 3 groups, and they're all equal now. Every group has been equally distributed, and each group has 4. So my answer has to be 4. So that is the last strategy that we're going to talk about today, is the array strategy. So I would like you, once you've completed that part, to put that in your math notebook, paste it, glue it down on one of the blank sheets that you have there, and you can use that as a reference when you need to go back and figure out a strategy to use for any division problem that basic division problem that you may run into. So I hope this video was helpful to you. And if you have any questions, just email me or comment to this assignment or whatever, and I'll try to get back to you about it.